Okay, everybody. Hey, I'm Tonya Oak Smith,
I'm Ron Bronson.
and we wanted to talk to you today about higher ed solo, which is something that we're starting to kick off now today. Yay, today.
Woo.
So, Ron, tell me a little bit about how we got started.
So, like most good ideas, it started on Twitter in a conversation that had nothing to do with us at all. And I think probably wrote some sort of ranty blog post about being a solo person in higher ed or something, and riffing on some conversation that ended up happening in Twitter. I don't know if the blog post came first or after. I don't recall. But either way, I think I wrote a post, and then the Twitter conversation happened at PSU Web. We were both at the same time. And then after we was over, you sent me a on a DM on Twitter, and you said, "Hey, I want to talk about this." And I was like, "Well, gee, I wonder if I offended somebody or something." And then no, it didn't offend you at all. In reality, you just wanted to talk about this whole solo higher ed thing. And then we sent a lot of emails back and forth, and then voila, like magic, here we are.
Like magic, poof.
That's how it works.
Um, I didn't get insulted at all by
Oh, got it.
your
Yes.
um
Hmm.
talking
Post.
about being a solo practitioner, because basically that's where I am too. We're both we both do solo things.
Mhm.
We just have different areas that we do for higher education. Like for instance, I am the director of communications for the UALR William H. Bowen School of Law. Woohoo! Um,
Scott in
and
Fayetteville, in case anyone was wondering,
thank you.
I'm here for you.
You retain that. Um, and so that means I'm responsible for everything from the web to print to social media. And I know that a lot of people are in that boat right now. Like, tell us about your situation.
Well, this isn't the first school I've been at, and so I've gone from being solo to not being solo to being solo again, and I kind of forgot how much I hated it the first time. but but just that was a joke. My boss is watching this, but at any rate, I work at Eastern Wyoming College. I'm the webmaster. You know those antiquated titles. I recall the conversation that spurred all this was, wait, people still had that title? People still do that? Yes, apparently so. And so if it's anything from webcasting sporting events to graduations to the blogs, if we had any, to our website, to any social media, any of those kinds of things at all, folks come to me or don't come to me, which is another story. But and what I'm responsible for here at Eastern Wyoming. So it was something, a pain point that I had dealt with before and sort of addressed before online, kind of went away from it. And then getting back into it, I just thought, well, gee, there's tons of folks who have to feel this way, and maybe don't have the same experience, or don't have as much experience, or have more experience, And I just thought, so much of the higher ed conversations these days, not that it's bad, it's fabulous stuff coming out of all the different venues out there now, and there's so many now. But a lot of it's geared towards people with a lot of money or a lot of people or both. I mean, let's just be real about it. I mean, there's other stuff, but I mean, for the most part. And so, I mean, there's definitely some, I think, a gap of intelligence that sort of gets lost, or people can feel left out. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty connected to the community, and I can still at times I don't want to go online and be a part of a higher ed live, or I'm not trying to call anybody out, by the way. But I mean, I may not feel as comfortable jumping into a conversation because I feel like, well, that's not relevant to us, or we can't do that on that scale, or so forth. And then so you feel like your expertise isn't as valid or isn't as useful. And so I feel that way, and I've been on Twitter a while, and I so know a lot of these names. I can't imagine someone who's got 50 followers and has even been on Twitter for 10 minutes, and is the only person at their little school somewhere, and in a big city or
One
not.
of the things that when we started talking about it, we discovered was that the pain point, the big one, was that you can't find a focus and you feel like you're by yourself. And that's not true. It's just not true. In the spirit of a lot of things that have been done in higher ed, a place where armies of one, like us, can exchange information, can talk, and can try to build each other up some. Because the building up to me is an important thing.
Definitely.
That's one of the big reasons that I'm involved in the community and stay involved in the community and want to give back. I think that this area can be an area where we not exactly talk negatively about being an army of one, but sometimes it's a great thing. I
It is,
like
right?
being by myself sometimes because I don't have to run it up a flagpole all the time.
Right,
That's an
right.
advantage.
It is a huge
Um,
advantage.
I don't.
I think that's a good point. It's probably the best part of this is that you don't have to worry about. I mean, I talk about that every. It's one of the every day. One of the things I'm happy about is that I can get things done without having to worry about going through 6,000 hoops. Maybe hoops are other things, but as far as the very basic kinds of things that I want to do, because you have that trust with the people, leadership or whoever you report to, you don't have to worry so much about that. And so I think that to add to that point about people who maybe have done it before who no longer do, I think that's where you can bridge that gap from a lot of the conversations that are happening, say, in the higher ed community right now, some of the bigger things that are happening. Okay, how can I apply some great social media campaign that you're doing at XYZ School of Giants? um, to my small school of minuscule insignificance. Like how can I do that? And if you've done both, if you've been in both shoes, and having gone from one, I said going from one to the other, back to the other. In some ways, I can synthesize a lot of that stuff. But if you haven't, then you may not know. For a lot of folks, they may not understand some of the challenges and some of the struggles that a lot of people. And I think the key to this is that this is not some kind of anomalous thing that only a few people left who do this. No, I think that there are quite a few folks out there through the budget concerns or lack of awareness or a variety, a myriad of issues that who deal with these kinds of things on an
Have
everyday
to
basis.
think about things like budget, and we have to think about things like um, doing small things well because that's where you make the most impact. And I think
Right.
if you have a bigger team, sometimes you lose that focus. You lose the ability to say, what's the core, what's the most important, how do I respond to strategic initiatives in the best way I know how. Um,
It's very entrepreneurial. I
yeah,
think I think being a solo person is very entrepreneurial in a way because you really have to have that kind of mindset, even if you don't consider yourself someone of that ilk. That
true.
having that creativity, having the ability to say, okay, how am I going to squeeze more out of less? You really are trying to get to your next project rather than worrying about gee, pie in the sky kinds of things. At least in sort of in a day to day sense, because you don't have the luxury of being able to do that all the time.
Yes, yes, I
Obviously,
agree.
we are online at higheredsolo.com, which you're watching this video, and we're launching on August 1st, and I'm sure there'll be something amazing there for you at that time once we create it. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yes. Oh,
And we're on that. But anyway, it's an exciting time, and
yeah.
hopefully you'll comment and tweet us at higheredsolo as well. We are on Twitter.
Yes. And I would
And,
encourage everybody who's an army of one. I mean, we've started a list of you guys. We're
right.
looking at you. Um, we've started a list, and we're gonna start talking to you guys. And